great good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful Friday, February 20, year of our Lord, 20 and 26. My grandson Ben's birthday. And I'm trying to figure out how old he is. Time flies. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. At 9:09 on the dot on my Bacardo Jewelers watch, we tell you we are broadcasting from the United States of America, the most amazing country on the history of the planet, the best place in the world, and the place where the brave, like the veterans we will salute today, thanks to John Basiliga and his great Basiliga hospitality group, like Charles Sparky Young, born in Bloomsburg, grew up in the Dallas area. James Novak, the Marvin Dutch Gap of Scranton. George Kokinda, Eagle Rock. Francis Tartella, Dunmore. Chester Lubecki, Lebanon, but he lived around Nanticoke as well. And Henry Price, Irishtown section of Plains. The United States of America, founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our incredible, amazing, irreplaceable founding fathers that government is not, shall not be, cannot be our parent, our guide, our salvation, our direction. Not any of these things. But the government is nothing more than a necessary evil we require to organize and protect society. The United States of America, the country where, for the first time in human history, freedom was declared to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom wasn't something that could be parceled out to groups. It was not something that could be controlled by government or government officials, because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press. No matter what you think of these clowns. Now, armed with these freedoms, and only because they had them, uniquely in history, and for the first time in history, a simple ragtag bunch of immigrants, rejects, and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro Show will always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so with that essential preamble dispensed with, we can gavel to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, of which you all are a part. Even those of you who refuse to use your common sense, we know you have it, and we trust you will find it if you simply listen. Because everybody in today's world needs a sanctuary of sanity. They truly do. We'll provide that the rest of the morning. So this, that was Grandma. I'm forgetting what her name is now. But this Trump thing. And then you had this idiot reporter for CBS asking, can you point to any time when someone called Trump a racist? I can't point to a time when anybody didn't call him a racist. Any of the lefty lunatics in politics and media. Absolutely crazy. Oh, Rich McHale. Now, this is the second time he's running this little pun by me, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, Rich. Bob, I was viewing pictures of Hillary, Maxine Waters, and Rosie O'Donnell. Then it hit me. That's the reason the left can't define what a woman is. Just saying. And he says LTS. Trump does that all the time, and I don't like it. He gets into looks, and I'm like, who knows? Come on. Hey, this hour of the program brought to you by Tina Morocco. She is Global Sales Advisor at Sotheby's Real Estate, Sotheby's International in Naples, Florida. You go to Sotheby's International on their website, you'll find Tina. They're in Naples. I mean, they're everywhere, but the Naples office. And you could also go to her own deal, Tina Morocco, MURACCO.com. Somebody texted in. I want to get to this text. NFL Chicago Bears. Now, this could simply be a negotiating tactic. I don't want to get excited over it. But the Chicago Bears are possibly relocating to Indiana. Indiana has taken steps to make that a reality. The Bears owners and management realize governor and mayor are hopelessly and constantly raising taxes and are stupid, disgusting idiots, I will add, raising taxes and did absolutely nothing to stop the high crime rate of Chicago, averaging 700 homicides a year. They refused federal help to end the killing fields. The Bear organization said enough is enough. New venue, only solution to the problem. New state, because you got to get away from Pritzker, too. He and his pedophile-adjacent brother, who had to leave the company. And the reason Pritzker was pushed out of the company because he was too dumb, which he's proven. They don't want him running Hyatt. Somebody texted in, and I think I've got to do the quote. I don't know if Bulldog has it on the history. Let us see. Yes, he does. The Immigration Act of 1907. And it bears repeating. President Theodore Roosevelt signed an Immigration Act, excluded idiots, imbeciles, feeble-minded persons, insane persons, among others, from being admitted to the United States. But they still let Biden in. And the left-wing, hardcore Democrat voters. All right, so I asked, and my daughter-in-law Allie told me Ben is 3 today. So happy birthday, Ben. We love him. He's great. So, yeah, the Bears possibly, it's absolutely incredible. So you got Bernie Sanders going out to California to promote the so-called billionaire tax. The governor's against it because he knows it's a disaster. So they know their policies are a disaster, but they think people will just absorb them. Now, I want to repeat something I started to say and said in part earlier. You have to wonder. And I mean, people that don't observe closely are saying, well, Bob, they can't be wrong about everything. But I'm telling you, I want to tell you what is going on here, meaning the Democrats. Here's what's going on. Except for John Fetterman, oddly enough. He came in like a Marxist, and since his stroke, he's had... they call them lucid moments. Because that's all they are, by the way. He hasn't changed his stripes, not as far as I've seen. But he has lucid moments. But here's what you have. You've got a billionaire and multimillionaire cabal of true evil. The Soroses. The Arabella Group. Singham. You've got them. They are funding a lunatic agenda, a hate America agenda. And it's the old story from all the president's men. Follow the money. All of the money from these foundations, from these public service unions, from academia, all the money, all the brain power is designed to destroy the country. So why would a politician take the 10 or 20 side of an 90-10 or 80-20 issue, which they do in every case? Voter ID, transgenderism, open border, coddling criminals with no bail and all the rest of the insanity, sanctuary cities. Why would they do it? Because that's where the money is coming from. And the money's coming from people who clearly hate this country as it was founded, as it exists, who want to undermine the country and the culture. And the Democrat Party is loyally, dutifully, disgracefully following along. Why would Chuck Schumer, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, name them all, favor policies that would help China undermine this country, and that they publicly and on the record disagreed with before, because they're following the money? It's that bad. It's that disgraceful. And we have asses like the mayor of Scranton, Paige Cognetti, trying to run for Congress. We've got asses like Bill Gaughan publicly trumpeting the same sick, twisted agenda. Or in the case of Cognetti, she's hiding from it. The same sick, twisted agenda, because that's where the money is. Unbelievable. Scary, scary, scary. You put forth any common sense position, they take the opposite. Why? They want the country destroyed. Well, why would the elected officials want this? Why would the Democrat Party want this? Because they're getting paid to do it. That's where their money comes from. That's who they sing to for their supper. It's that stark, it's that sad, it's that sickening. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let's hear from our great sponsors. A little history, a little music, and then you at 570-883-0098 to call or to text. Buddy Holly. Buddy doesn't say. Murph says that on this date, 1958, he released his debut self-titled album on Coral Records. Murph picked Peggy Sue from that album. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. And, of course, before that, the legally established, under the Supreme Court, compulsory vaccination laws. I'm really of two minds on this. Like, I get it. But the issue has to be, we took COVID. And I look at, people died from COVID, of course. The vulnerable. And then some freak instances. But a lot of people died from the vaccination. Period. The so-called vaccination. And the vaccination didn't prevent anything. It just allowed us the excuse to move back to normal life. And they scammed us up, down, sideways. Oh, I could go to a huge grocery store or big box shop, but I can't go to a mom and pop restaurant. Even if I'm taking precautions, even if I'm not, and then they force people at the expense of losing their jobs to take a shot that didn't prevent the disease or the spread of it. But that is the legal precedent that was utilized in the COVID fiasco. And I got to tell you, if that's the level of our public health, and then you have the WHO superimposed on top of that, the World Health Organization, wow. It's unreal. Scary, scary, scary. Somebody says, root of all evil, Bob, is money. LTS. It's also the root of all comfort. If you want to use it for evil or fall for it, yeah. Somebody texts in, just reading a story on Fox, a group of South American nationals here illegally, just arrested by ICE in Houston. They were jamming Wi-Fi, alarm, and phone systems and robbed over 60 upscale homes in the Houston area. Little Billy, the boy king Billy Gaughan, and Mayor Many Names would probably welcome them to Greenridge. Yeah, of course they would. They're our neighbors. They're our neighbors. I don't know about you. I have neighbors I'm not letting in my house just because they're neighbors. Somebody said Pete Buttigieg leads in New Hampshire poll by 3 percentage points. He happens to be there right now. He was a DEI worst choice. He was horrible at his job. Absolutely horrible. Somebody takes in Bob LTS, the shot didn't prevent anything. So they'd always say, thank God I got the shot or it would have been so much worse. Liars, says Slick. Remember Fauci? Fauci himself. Biden's another jackass, got it. All these shots, they kept getting COVID. Oh, thank God for the shot. Yes. Thank God. All right, our listener corrects it. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. Yes. The enjoyment of money, not necessarily so. I don't understand this one, cabinet guy. You say, we got to learn to sing Happy Birthday by a tranny every day. I don't know what that means. You're going to have to explain it to me. Another, Bob, how about the arrows in the supermarket, 5 feet apart? How stupid were we? We were taken for fools by Fauci, the health establishment, and remember who benefited the most? The social media companies, the internet companies, the content providers. We stayed home and shut down the country for the flu. And that's all it was. Please, you cannot tell me it was anything more. Weren't allowed to talk about it even on this radio station. No, you can't say, yeah, well, it all turned out to be true. Every conspiracy theory, and I'm using air quotes if you're watching me on live stream, which, by the way, I have my all-time great T-shirt, the new clothing line that my friend Chris Finazzo's come out with. He's of Aeropostale and all kinds of fashion wear, but he's got T-shirts, hats, and they're fabulous. And I've got the blue with the great American flag on it. Love it. In fact, I'm going to have to adjust the camera so you can see it. Anyway, we've got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let us go to our great sponsors. We'll come back with a Veterans Tribute, the weather, and more. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by our friend John Basiliga, friend of the veterans, friend of this country, and certainly to Northeast Pennsylvania. Today we focus on Basiliga Hospitality Group because, my goshes, I don't know how, but it's the weekend. 3 amazing bar restaurants. I'm telling you, try them. Just go in and take a look at them. Enjoy the food, the booze, the whole thing. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. The Far Street Tavern, the reimagined neighborhood institution in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton. The Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant. They are all outstanding. I'm telling you. James Novak. He was 75. We lost him February 4th. Longtime resident of the great Marvine Dutch Gap section of Scranton. He's survived by his wife for 55 years, the former Lorraine Davitt. Born in East Brunswick, New Jersey, graduated from Riverside High School. Jim answered the call right then. Enlisted in the United States Army, hopscotching the globe for the next 20 years, living in Vietnam during the war, and later in Virginia, Italy, Georgia, Germany, Arizona, and Korea. A skilled master carpenter by trade, he was a valued employee with a rock-solid work ethic, working at Scranton Laceworks, Animastat, Simplex Modular Homes, retiring from Simplex in 2014. His leisure time was spent fishing. And he loved rock and roll, Elvis, the Beatles, Pink Floyd. Survived by 2 daughters, 3 granddaughters, nieces, nephews, and many other family members. James Novak. Charles Sparky Young. He passed away on February 10th at the age of 87. Born in Bloomsburg, he was known affectionately as Sparky to friends and Pop to family. He was a familiar and friendly presence to many and a deeply beloved husband, father, grandfather, and great-grandfather. Sparky grew up in the Dallas area, working alongside his family on their local farm, where he developed a strong work ethic and steady character that would define his life. It can't get much better than a family farm. From 1960 to 1964, he proudly served in the United States Army, including time stationed in Greenland. He drove cross-country trucking routes for over 25 years for Arthur Shelley and Kevin Ryman, later serving as custodian at Dallas High School for more than a decade. Longtime member of the East Dallas United Methodist Church, proud member of the Dado Isaacs American Legion Post for more than 50 years. Preceded in death by his wife, the former Mary Young, daughter Brenda Young Mission in 2006, grandsons Jared Hoyt and John Young in 2021. He's survived by his daughters, his son, 12 grandchildren, 4 great-grandchildren. Charles Sparky Young, our great veterans this hour, brought to you by our man, John Basiliga, and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Anthony Bordenero, brought to you by the amazing gang up at Montage Mountain Resort. It is the place for winter fun. The only thing I can really comment on, I can comment on all of it because I watch it. I can't ski anymore. I can't snowboard, but I love the lodge. And the fireworks they had last week. There's always something going on at Montage. Just know that. By the way, winter weathery advisory in effect till 12 noon today. Seems somewhat tame out there, but it's 38 degrees. Today, cloudy and windy with a mix of rain and freezing rain in the morning, changing to all rain, high 41. Tonight, mostly cloudy, 33. Saturday, mostly cloudy, high 41. Sunday, cloudy with scattered snow showers. Could accumulate 1 to 4 inches before ending early Monday, high 35. And that's your weather, brought to you by the great, great people at Montage Mountain Resorts. Your place for winter fun. The Beach Boys. Murph tells us they recorded their hit, Don't Worry, Baby, this date, 1964. And I know he's listening now. So I've got to do a shout out to my grandson, Ben. He's 3 years old today. How about that? Ben, happy birthday, my man. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Happy birthday, Ben. Oh, Lord. That's the first time your name will be on the radio, but well, no, I've already bragged about him. I've already bragged about him before. All right, Ben. Hey, Lori Cadden, my old pal, she does a show on the weekend, and I told her, I said, let's do something here. Let's promote your show. And we're finally getting around to it. Lori, how are you, my dear?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. And we've got a relative of yours that we have to promote, a great veteran, your uncle, that we're going to promote next Friday. But let's talk about your show. What do you got tomorrow?
Oh, well, as always, we're talking about everything we do when we're out and about, especially me, all over this great northeastern Pennsylvania area that we get to live in, and it's just, we're lucky. We're very lucky to be here, and I love everything about it, and I'm always promoting people and what they do and businesses, and go shop local and eat local and all the good stuff that's out there being part of this great little area of ours.
Lori Cadden,
that's what's happening.
What time is your show on?
Well, it comes on every single Saturday from 9 to 10 on the great WILK. It is my 17th year, Bob. 14 with Lynn Evans.
That's so great.
It's
the
great.
Late,
we
great
love it.
Lynn Evans, yeah.
The late, great Lynn Evans. She was the absolute best, and she's with me all the time. And so the last 2 years, and this being the beginning of the third, I've been doing it on my own with the help of the great Julie Immel, who does the producing on that end, because Lynn always did all the technical stuff, because I know nothing about anything technical.
We only know how to talk, right?
That's it. I know how to talk and go places and have fun, and that's all. I don't care. Someone else can do that stuff. That's not my expertise.
Well, I listen to it often, and I'm excited to listen tomorrow. Now, you're not going to give us any hints as to what you're going to do tomorrow?
You know what? Tomorrow we have Leah Janakopoulos will be on, because Sunita Aurora's ERA One Source Realty, which I have my license with as well. I've been a licensed real estate agent for 30-some years. I don't promote it because I can't do it right now. I don't have the time, but my license is hung with Sunita, and so I work with Leah, and Sunita is one of my sponsors, which she sponsors for so many years in a row. And so Leah was on, so she'll be on, and we'll talk about some of the stuff, what's been going on with the slight slump in real estate sales for January and February, which if you can use your vivid imagination, you'll know the answer to that. And then the other stuff she's talking about is people who want to buy townhouses, that they're really, really popular, both with the younger crowd and the older crowd. Yeah. So that's what and then we're just talking about the Olympics that I'm so.
Wasn't that great with our ladies winning?
Oh my God.
Here's the problem with the Olympics. Now, at least some of the events. I watched our skaters last night, our women's skaters.
Yeah.
The routine was the 4-minute, I don't know if they call it the freestyle or whatever. And it was the young lady who had fallen in a previous event, and she had to sort of recover.
Yes.
And I'm watching it. I couldn't take it anymore. I'm going, when is this going to end? I was in knots watching her. And they do those triple axles and all those moves. It was too much pressure. Now it was late too, but I had to turn the Olympics off because it was too much pressure.
Well, it is. And then that Alyssa Liu had to sit through everyone else who could possibly overtake her gold. And oh my God, and I hate to be one of these people who say, I hope you fall, I hope you fall, I hope you fall. But I was kind of secretly saying, I hope she makes a mistake, I hope. And they did, which is how she got then the gold, because they didn't skate perfectly, but she did, and she's a delight. And the hockey team, and oh my God, I am just so proud of this country and where we're at. What athletes do is amazing to me, Bob. Somebody once said to me,
The
Laurie,
level of skill in the Olympics is so
oh
off
my,
the charts.
yes.
I was
But
watching
you're,
the uphill. I forget
oh,
what they
that's
call it, the
bizarre.
uphill skiing. I think
And then
these people, these kids are amazing.
I know it. Well, you're an athlete, so you know what it's like. Someone said to me once, "Did you ever play sports when you were younger?" I said, "Why would I do that?" No, I played volleyball. That's about it. But I'm amazed by people who have that, the constitution of people to get that done. It's just unbelievable, their constitution. I love it. I love it, and I think it's wonderful. And it brings so many people together.
We look forward to your conversation with Leah and just what you have to say every week, 9 o'clock, here on WILK, every Saturday, or as my cutie would say, Sari. So I'm excited to listen to you again tomorrow, always.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the time. Thank you so much, and you keep doing a good job.
All right, Lori, you have a great one. And apparently, I got a little video already of my grandson Ben reacting because he heard his name on the radio, and he came to the radio, moved towards the radio, and said, "Pop." Warms your heart. We'll take a break and be back. That's the Moody Blues, a totally different song for them. This date, 1965, Murph says the Moody Blues debuted on the charts with their first single, Go Now. And, of course, before that, my all-time favorite, Teddy Roosevelt. And he signed an immigration act, and he laid it out clearly. Become a damn American, speak English. By the way, in my view, hang on to your second language, but it's now your second language. English is the language of the country. But we love, like so many Italians I know, lost because they said, no, we speak English only in this house. And they lost the language skills. And that was sad. So I don't want you to get the wrong impression of what I'm saying. These other languages, these other cultures, they are an incredible positive for this country and this culture as it develops. You know, one of the problems with Europe is that their cultures stagnated, and then they went to the exact opposite insane extreme that the scumbag Biden brought us to, which is open borders and not caring, in fact, discouraging assimilation. And nightmares have ensued. But again, these are from people trying to destroy the country and the culture for their own evil purposes. Tom from Dallas says, my wife was going to lose her job because of Joe Biden's shot mandate. Thank God for Supreme Court overruling Biden. Thank God for Trump and Trump's Supreme Court nominees. Well, Trump made his share of mistakes, but he listened to liars. He listened to bureaucrats on COVID. Now, warp speed, part of that program was the development of the shot. It wasn't a vaccine because it didn't prevent anything. It at least allowed us to open the country up. RW says, I never thought I'd see the day that elected officials who are sworn to protect the community would actually harbor illegals, preventing law enforcement from doing their job. Well, we're seeing it. And we're seeing idiots like Bill Gaughan making, because he's a crappy, horrible county commissioner, horrible city council member, should not be anywhere near public office. But he's making his stand for the illegals because he doesn't care about you. All right, so cabinet guy reminds me. I didn't remember this. If you thought I listened to Rachel Levine during the crisis, an embarrassment, not because she was transgender, because she was an embarrassment, an incompetent, and a disgrace, by the way, taking her mother out of a nursing home when she mandated that COVID-stricken people should be put back into nursing homes, which killed thousands. Yeah, that's your leadership. The troll says, I actually knew 5 people who died from COVID. Well, you lie about everything, so I'm not believing you. Sorry. You have zero credibility. This is the number one troll. And the other thing Tom from Dallas reminds us of, this is important, and I think the statistics are even more stark, the reality worse. More than half of all the people that died of COVID had two or more other comorbidities, meaning other things that could kill them. 94% of all COVID deaths had complicating conditions. Also, dying of COVID and with COVID is two different things. Unfortunately, the hospitals made a fortune on COVID no matter what, as long as they put, and I add this, as long as they put COVID in the cause of death, they received a bonus. Cabinet guy says, I worked with Jimmy Novak. Man, we honored in the first hour. I worked with Jimmy Novak at Simplex. A great guy. I love hearing that. Yeah, that's the deal. Hey, Ricardo Jewelers. The most amazing jewelry store you'll ever go. Corner of Spruce Street and Jefferson Avenue, downtown Scranton. Caddy corner from the Radisson. You can't miss the old train station. They're the watch store also. And Ricardo Jewelers, your Raymond Weil watch store, tells us it's 10:02, which means it's overdue for the news. We'll do that and be back. Great good morning, everyone. My Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:09 a.m. here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Friday, February 20th, 2026. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and his amazing Basiliga Hospitality Group, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we salute today and who we lost this year, like Charles Sparky Young, Dallas, James Novak, Marvin Dutch Gap, section of Scranton, George Kokinda, Eagle Rock, Francis Tartella, Dunmore, Chester Lubecki, Lebanon, and Henry Price, Irishtown section of Plains. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all in a world where so much of the world, including the entire leadership of the Democrat Party, has gone insane. So the Supreme Court, in a pretty much expected decision, I told you this a few months ago, they ruled against Trump's tariffs, but it's 6-3. But in that, they don't agree with the statute under which he imposed them. It doesn't mean the end of his tariff program or his tariffs, which are being used to negotiate fair trade deals. But it means that they're going to have to go back to the drawing board. There's nothing in the ruling so far, and we'll see what the implications are later, but there's nothing in the ruling so far that says we've got to pay the money back to any vague company or country. So it was expected. You don't get taxing authority except through the U.S. Congress. They picked a thin reed on which to base them on. And what's fascinating when you think about it, many of the Trump tariffs were continued during the Biden administration and nobody sued. They just don't want Trump to succeed. John Roberts, as soon as you see John Roberts wrote the opinion, you know it's lost. He's a disaster. I'm looking forward to reading the dissenting opinions by the three justices. I'm going to guess who they are, but it doesn't matter. It's 6-3. Now, the one thing I say about the Supreme Court often, I trust them. And they made this decision, generally speaking, without politics in mind. Remember when you're talking about Ketanji Brown and, just awful, horrendous judges, fake judges. When you're talking about the Democrat appointees, they're a disgrace. But the Supreme Court, in the main, is fair. And they're trying to do things according to the Constitution. And it was, without doubt, a fair interpretation to say that the president did not have the unilateral right to impose tariffs. Again, he's got to come up with other negotiating tactics, and he's got to come up with other statutes by which to justify the tariff regime that he'd been using to negotiate fair trade. Right? Here's the thing. It's about fair trade. We're not trying to get anything over on the other countries. We want it to be equal, for tariffs or other barriers to be reciprocal. Now, they've got to get rid of, this is another reason they've got to get rid of the filibuster while the Republicans are still in charge. Because they've got to give him tariff authority to use in his negotiations with other countries, which have gone exceptionally well, by the way. You got to remember, 50 years, this country has been dealt with unfairly on trade, and we never did anything about it until Trump. And thank God he did, and it made a big difference. But now that we are where we're going to be, and remember, it's only narrowly, it says that the basis upon which, the law upon which Trump tariffs had been imposed is not specific enough regarding tariffs that you could say that the Congress gave him authority. And Congress, because tariffs are a tax, has to have authority. That's the deal. Fair enough. I can't fully disagree with them, although I will look at the three justices who opposed this, who disagreed with it, and their dissenting opinions before making a final conclusion as to whether right, wrong, or indifferent. But expected. So now we'll deal with it. Trump is now saying that the trade deficit is a national emergency. It is. And by the way, it's the unfair trade the United States conducted over 50 years of sloth, frankly, and of big corporations controlling the government's trade agenda and other things other than fairness. They've stolen a good part of our middle class. Trump's 100% right about that. So they've got to go back at it again. But this is not going to be the way they could proceed under a 1977 congressional act regarding emergency powers. You've got to go back to the drawing board. Look, there's brilliant people in this administration. They'll figure it out. So I'm not worried or upset with the Supreme Court. We knew the three idiots appointed by Democrats, Kagan, Ketanji Brown, we knew what their votes were going to be. Anything against Trump, period. But three normal Supreme Court justices joined in the decision. Roberts, he wants to be popular in Washington, D.C. He wants to show that he's doesn't go along with Trump so that he could have fun at cocktail parties. But that aside, I'm comfortable with whatever decisions this Supreme Court makes. I truly am comfortable with them, and that they're done in the main by following the Constitution. That's for now. We will see. I've got to read the dissenting opinions, and that'll further inform what I'm going to do. But just out, the Supreme Court ruled against, in a John Roberts opinion, striking down Trump's tariffs under the 1977 Emergency Powers Act. He said it never mentioned tariffs, which it didn't, and therefore was the improper way to proceed if you want to impose them. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back. The Temptations. Murph said that the number one R&B hit with My Girl, this date, 1965. Boy, has that just, I mean, some songs they're just timeless, aren't they? Amazing, amazing, amazing. Bob Cordaro back with you on WILK. So the tariffs struck down, and I guess that would be the bulk of the tariffs because the statute upon which he based his authority is what they described as. And so it's not the end of the world. It's not anything. And they're not requiring anybody to pay any money back. Clarence Thomas, in his at least a little bit of a dissent I was able to glance at during the spot, the commercials, he said that presidents have always had this authority since 1790, and you got to go beyond the context of the statute to the history of tariffs in this country, and they were imposed by presidents in the past, and so on and so forth. I mean, I remember very clearly George Bush imposing tariffs on steel and some other things. They were retaliatory tariffs. But in this day and age, when everything's hate Trump, well, they're just going to do it. Yeah. So it's what it is. They'll figure their way around it. And I don't believe, other than the three fools appointed by the Democrats, that the decision was done with specific malice. I really don't. And I know a lot of you will disagree with me and say, no. But look, it was on thin legal ground, in my view, from the beginning. I just said, if you remember, I said that they're going to probably strike it down, but they're not going to create any mechanism to pay back or any nonsense like that. That's not going to happen. So a big decision, an important decision, it's going to take some of the leverage Trump has had in trade negotiations. Remember, the non-reciprocal trade deals that we have with all these other countries have stolen a good part of America's middle class from us. It's not of no consequence. It was of huge consequence, the idiocy of our trade policy over 50 years. Trump tried to fix it in the first year of his second term, and the Supreme Court says, no, it's not going to be that easy. Tenor Jim from Wilkes-Barre says, Bob, Trump was dealing with foreign entities, not USA businesses or individuals. Well, yes, you are, because somebody here has to pay the tariff, even if it's absorbed by the foreign manufacturers. Anyway, Jim says, therefore, it doesn't seem that these kind of negotiations are unconstitutional. Somebody says, so every trade deal that was being worked out is canceled and every country will go back to imposing their tariffs on us? Not necessarily. Again, they're going to have faith in this gang. You give me Bessent, you give me Lutnick, and you give me Trump, and you give me Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance, we'll figure it out. I'm not worried. There's so little that I'm worried about with this team in place. Because they'll handle everything the best it can be handled. And this decision, again, it was expected. And now it's here. So, okay, we knew it was coming. Now it's here. And now we'll figure it out. And I'm not worried about it one bit. I'm really not. But I will tell you that Trump's trade negotiations are absolutely critical to the future of the working and middle class They're just as critical as closing the border and kicking out the illegals to the economic sake of our working class and our middle class. Two parts of the same problem. Because does it matter if your wages are being undercut by illegal aliens flooding this country or by foreign workers who will take less money? It doesn't matter. They're both the same. There's two sides of the same coin that has stolen and harmed our middle class and our working class. And so now they're going to have to come up with something else. And I'm telling you they will. And by the way, by solving or being on the way to solving the first part of it, illegal immigration, mass illegal immigration, they are protecting American workers. So we'll see. But I have great confidence in this administration. Great confidence. And I got to tell you, I have great confidence in the majority of the Supreme Court, pending reading the dissents in this 6-3 decision. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We're going to hear from our great sponsors. We've got a Veterans Tribute. We've got the weather and more, as they always say, on the Bob Cordaro Show. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Proudly, patriotically, brought to you by our man, John Basiliga, and his amazing Basiliga hospitality group, because it's the weekend. Well, we talked about the Old Brook Inn, the Forest Street Tavern, the Queen City Tavern, amazing bar restaurants. But let's now talk about fine dining. The best in Northeast Pennsylvania, bar none. The most beautiful places to dine. The most amazing dining experiences. Atera 519, downtown Scranton. By the way, a great happy hour. And a little late night menu and bar open a little bit later upstairs. All kinds of great things at the Terra. Can't wait to get there this weekend. The Stegmeyer Mansion. I got to get down there. I love it. An old world take on the same amazing experience in the Mary Stegmeyer Mansion. Oh, and Sergei's, the nightclub. It'll be open and firing on all cylinders and a lot of fun, even for a fogey like me for a little while. I'm telling you, I go downstairs there and have fun. The Scranton Art House, the place to watch a movie. Great little bar, great food. You can have it in your seat or outside in the lobby. George Kokinda. He passed away February 9th. He was from Eagle Rock, just 77. Born in Elizabeth, New Jersey, he spent the past 42 years in Eagle Rock. 1966 graduate of Hazel Township High School. He was a U.S. Air Force veteran during the Vietnam War, having served from 1966 to 1970. After service, he was employed as a salesman for Budweiser, Hazleton. He then did an amazing career switch and became a high-voltage electrician. No mean feat. In his spare time, he enjoyed hunting, working on antique farming equipment, and fixing just about everything. Surviving her, his loving wife, the former Maruta Muti Povasils, to whom he was married back in 1984. His son, George III, 2 brothers, 3 sisters, and many other family members. George Kokinda. Francis Tartella. He was 88 when we lost him February 9th. He was from Dunmore. He'd been preceded in death by his beloved wife of 16 years, Rosemary Tartella. She was a hell ring. She died in 1990. He was a graduate of West Scranton High School. He got an associate's degree at Keystone and a Bachelor of Arts degree from Drake. Fulfilling long career at Mercy Hospital in Scranton, beginning as a medical technologist, then the chemistry section head, chief medical technologist, and ultimately laboratory manager from 1984 until his retirement. In addition, Francis was clinical coordinator and instructor for the Scranton Medical Technology Consortium. Francis proudly served this country as a hospital corpsman in the United States Navy Reserves, achieving the rank of senior chief. He originally retired in 1989, but was recalled to active duty during the Gulf War, finally retiring from the military in 1993. His devotion to service extended well beyond the military as he lived a life dedicated to serving his community, his faith, and his family. 4th degree member of the Knights of Columbus, Dunmore Council. The Royal Order of Landlocked Petty Officers, how about that? The Fleet Reserve Association, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Dunmore Rotary, Anthracite Heritage Museum. He was a recipient of the Legion of Honor Award by the Chapel of the 4 Chaplains. Proud of his involvement with the Anthracite Heritage Museum and a recognized local expert on coal mining. In addition to his wife and parents, he was preceded in death by his 4 brothers. Survived by his daughter, his sons, 3 cherished grandchildren, and many other family members. Francis Tartella, our great veterans, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Anthony Bordenaro. A winter weather advisory in effect until noon today. Today, cloudy and windy with a mix of rain and freezing rain in the morning, changing to all rain. High of 41, 39 outside and on Montage Mountain right now. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low 33. Saturday, mostly cloudy, 41. Sunday, cloudy with scattered snow showers. Could have an accumulation 1 to 4 inches before ending early Monday, high 35. And all of that tells you this is the weekend to get to Montage Mountain. Skiing, snowboarding. They have those amazing tents with fire pits. They've got the great, the Slocum Hollow Bar? Amazing. Do it. Montage Mountain, the place to be. And they bring you the weather because they are the weather. John Lennon, he released his hit Instant Karma. Murph says, this date, 1970, two things sent to me that really caught my funny bone. But one that this is a good one. My man Nicky D sends and says, do you all remember before the internet that people thought the cause of stupidity was the lack of access to information? Yeah, it wasn't that. Oh, Lord. Then Rob O'Donnell posted, our own Rob O'Donnell, he posted on Facebook. And this is that, but we talk about our, we got great cops and firemen too. I'm in. But we love our DPW. And Rob says, I just confirmed that some quick thinking Scranton DPW workers, they observed a residential porch fire and used their shovels and remaining snow to put down the flames, preventing greater damage and possibly the structure itself. So shout out to the DPW again, going beyond the call of duty without a contract because of our incompetent mayor. Now, Rob adds this sarcastic note. In other news, the mayor's office put out a statement that they purposely left mounds of snow strategically placed around the city for just this very occurrence, and she deserves all the credit. Oh, that's a good one, Rob O'Donnell. Hey, well, now let's go to the phone. We got Luciano from Luzerne County.
Thank you, Bob, for taking my call. I generally don't call you twice a week, but I got emotional. As a man, yes, I get emotional, and tears, a little bit of tears came. Did you hear how the media deliberately and consciously did not expose to the American citizens Monday that Donald Trump had many black people, many black African Americans that had crimes committed by illegals, that he honored African American Month, Black History Month, and the media calls him racist. The media dares calls Donald Trump
Oh yeah,
racist when
the disgusting Associated Press, which unfortunately were a source of a lot of our news, the disgusting Associated Press indicated that he didn't deserve to honor African Americans and blacks on Black History Month. It's insane. It's insanity.
And no disrespect for donkeys. Donkeys were very beneficial because donkeys carried our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and Mary. So I don't call the Democrat donkeys. I call them what you call them, ASSs, and that's what they. So the donkey is a very useful animal. But Bob, let me just tell you this. I don't
not
mind
in the
being
political
called,
context. It's not.
Yeah, I don't mind being called the Uncle Tom. I don't mean being called a coon. I don't mean being called a sellout to my own people. You know who I support? American citizens. And Bob, you downplay. You don't. I don't think you consciously downplay, but you'd be amazed how many illegal, undocumented people are murdering and raping and doing all kinds of horrible things to American citizens. And Bob, deport them all. For the past 8 years, deport them all. I don't care,
have to,
Bob.
and let them come back legally. We can set up the process and do it right. You do it right. And that's what they say even in the Christie Nomads. They say, you can leave this country and do it right. And we will welcome you.
Donald Trump's offering $3,000 as of 2026 to give them a free plane ride to whatever country they belong, and $3,000. And the media is not exposing that information.
I thought it was 1,000, but okay.
And now it went up to 3,000 as of 2026. 3,000 plus a free plane ticket to whatever country hellhole they came from. Bob, have a pleasant week.
All right, my man. Hey, $3,000 is still only 1 month of what they cost us. Not even. So not a bad deal. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. By the way, Brett Kavanaugh says tariff refunds would likely be a mess. They are not on the table, just so you know. Gordon Lightfoot. Love him. Murph says this date, 1971, he had the #1 adult charts hit with his first single, If You Could Read My Mind. Biden banner disgrace, day 67. The Greenridge Neighborhood Association has immorally placed a hometown hero banner in that section of the city of Scranton. They are wrong. It is for veterans. You can put up all the banners to Joe Biden you want and make asses of yourselves. But do not debase our veterans who earned the hometown hero banners. Biden banner disgrace, day 67. So my man Mark from Hazleton, Mark the Shark, I might add. This is something, it came across the wires in Newsmax, he tells me. The president of the student body at Iowa State University has been impeached by the Student Government Association because he's part of a group with ties to Turning Point USA, the Charlie Kirk group. They claim he acted with malfeasance because he supports conservatives running for student government. His name's Colby Brandt. And now he'll face a Supreme Court trial, that's at the school, to determine if he'll be removed from office. Ironically, at the same meeting, the Student Government Association, these mindless, mush-headed children, approved funding for an Iranian student group and other far-left causes. It's time for the Department of Education to put up or shut up when it comes to universities that silence conservative students. All federal funding to Iowa State University should be frozen. And I've been hearing, by the way, thank you for that, Mark. I've been hearing, you know how all the DEI is supposed to be gone from our universities? They're just disguising it. Bob Bugzar checking in. He says, another great mayor, Zoran Mamdani. He missed the Catholic's Archbishop's ceremony, the induction ceremony, for the first time in about 100 years. He said scheduling issues. What a jackass. Well, he's anti-Christian. He's anti-Jewish. He's pro-radical Muslim. He's a disgrace. Oh, and some of his appointments. My man Mark Mayer was sending me stuff, and I'm like, this is crazy. Oh, by the way, it is not only my grandson Ben's birthday, it's Mark Mayer's wife Kathy's birthday today, too. We love it. Happy birthday, Kathy. Or as Mark says, Kath. And Big Hands Philbin. He's with us for the third day in a row. We love him. Big Hands, you stick with us. You become part of the family. We're large, we're dysfunctional, but you listen for a little while, you'll grow to love it. Let me see. I want to mention these things while we're on Mamdani. He's passed these Sanctuary Plus edicts. He wants it to be Minneapolis in New York City. By the way, his most recent budget, the $128 billion budget, cuts to the police. Now, he's hired Bitta Mustafi, a Biden and de Blasio alumna, to audit the New York Police Department and other city agencies for violations of local sanctuary laws. How about that? So they're going to punish cops and other city employees for any kind of assistance or by following the law. This is the sicko that's now the mayor of New York City. Sick, disgraceful, obviously stupid, or you wouldn't believe what he believes or claims to. Now here's another appointment. Faiza Ali, a former staffer for the designated terrorist group Council on American Islamic Relations, as the city's new chief immigration officer. You tell me these people can't do damage? Oh, yes, they can. Mark Mayer calls him Borat. $10 million for racial equity in New York City in 2026. Racial equity. This is insane. And it's happening in New York City. I'm telling you, they're going to destroy it. My man John, well, it's 11 o'clock. I can't get into it yet, but I've got something. Why I vote Republican. And it's tough, but sadly it's true. We'll talk about that when we get back. But for now, Cordaro Jewelers, your Longines watch store, the time is 11:01, which means it's time for the news with Brian Hughes. We'll be back. Great good morning, everyone. Your Picardo Jewelers, your watch time store, is 11:08 a.m. here in the great Northeast this beautiful Friday, February 20, 2025. It's Kat's birthday, and it's my grandson Ben's third birthday. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we salute today, having lost them earlier this year, like Francis Tartella, Dunmore, George Kokinda, Eagle Rock, Charles Sparky Young, Dallas area, James Novak, Marvin Dutch Gap, section of Scranton, Chester Lubecki, he was from Nanticoke, and Henry Price, Irishtown section of Plains. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our commitment to common sense is such that we will provide a sanctuary of sanity for you for the balance of this morning in a world where, well, at least 6 of the Supreme Court justices and an entire political party, the Democrats, has gone insane on us. So look at the tariff ruling came down, not unexpected, because you know you've got 3 anti-Trump votes automatically. John Roberts votes against Trump every time he can get away with it. So there's 4 votes right off the top. I don't know Amy Coney Barrett. I'm not understanding. She didn't write the opinion. Roberts did, so we're not going to necessarily know her thinking and why she went that way. But there was a legitimate constitutional argument that a tariff is a tax, and therefore Congress has to specifically enable it before the president can impose it. I mean, remember, that's all they ruled. They didn't rule tariffs were illegal. They ruled that under the specific law, an emergency declaration of 1977, Trump was arguing that was his basis for the tariffs because it was an emergency, and in many ways it is. But the problem is it's a 50-year emergency. When we've allowed free trade to become unfair trade, it has stolen our middle class along with this latest burst of illegal aliens under Biden. It's stolen the working class and the middle class from this country. It deprived them. By the way, this hour brought to you by Tina Morocco. If you want to think Florida, that's who you talk to. Global sales advisor at Sotheby's International in Naples, Florida. She's the gateway to Southwest Florida, but she could get you started for the entire state, no matter where you're looking. She's the best. She's honest. She's sharp. She knows the market. Can't get better than that. But I got to tell you, this is frightening because maybe it'll have some good. Maybe it will have some good. Because if the feds knock down I'm sorry, if the Senate that knocks down and gets rid of the filibuster, which the others are going to do. As soon as the Democrats get in, filibuster's gone, and Katie bar the door, as Coach Hens used to say. So let's do it now. Show people that you can get stuff done. Get past the filibuster. Give him tariff authority so he can finish these trade deals. Now, I got sent, and this is my man John sent this in. This is why I vote Republican. Democrat, killing babies. Republican, letting babies live. Democrat, defunding police. Republican, supporting police. Democrat, gun control. Republican, gun rights and freedom. Democrat, open borders. Republican, border control. And Republicans aren't perfect by any means, but this is actually sadly true. Democrats, higher taxes. Republicans, keep more of your earnings. Democrat, weak military. Republicans, strong military. Democrat, overregulation. Republican, light touch government. Democrat, let anyone vote. Republican, voter ID. Democrat, welfare state. Republican, opportunity economy. Democrat, lockdown state. Republican, working economy. Democrat, big government. Republican, big individual. Democrat, more control and mandates. Republican, less control and mandates. Democrat, against term limits. Republican, favor term limits. Democrat, socialism. Republicans, capitalism, which simply means economic freedom. Democrat, leftism, Marxism. Republican, conservatism, classical liberal. Democrat, communism. Republican, constitutional republic. Democrat, political correctness. Republican, free speech. Democrat, riots, violence, and burnings. Republican, law and order. Democrat, tyrannical government. Republican, free constitutional government. And it's that stark and that frightening. That's what the Democrat Party's become. And I discussed this last hour with you. The key, absolute key to this, follow the money. The left-wing billionaire money intent upon destroying this country. The Singham money. The Soros money. The Arabella money. That's why the Democrats are against everything that's good for this country. The only guy that didn't get the memo is John Fetterman. Irony of ironies. An avowed Marxist. He didn't get the memo. Or he's not getting the money, one or the other. And so they're against everything that's good for this country, the Democrat Party, because of the money and where that money comes from, and they are answering to their masters. It's that sad and that simple. I don't know. Bob, 8 million voters in New York, they stayed home and let this country-hating fool become their mayor, Mamdani. Yep. Honestly, this is a live and learn moment they plainly deserve. Dearborn, Michigan is what it'll all become, as well as Minnesota, fraud and thefts. Times 1,000, says the bugs are. It's a deep-seated hatred of this country, its ethos, its founding, its principles, and the success that all of that brought. We didn't become, and this is why I open the show every day, we didn't become the most successful and the greatest country in the history of the world because we are the smartest people and the greatest people. We became this way because of freedom enshrined in the Constitution that they are trying to steal away. Somebody texts in, happy third birthday, Ben. Make sure Grandpa buys you all the toys. No, I'm not a spoiler by any means. He will get love and kisses. You'll get toys, but yeah. So it's very important for you to understand here's the source of the problem. Billionaire, and I cite the three. There are more, but they're three of the main ones. Arabella, that's not a name, that's a group. Soros, Singham. And that's who the Democrat Party sings for. Country haters like that. America haters like that. They hate our success. They're jealous of our success. They want to knock us down. They don't want to imitate our success. That would eliminate power for them. They want to take us down, not improve the rest of the world. Driven by pure evil. We'll take a break and we're back. Jay Giles. Murph says it was the number one hit this date, 1982. Centerfold. And do you guys remember the 2003 fire sparked by pyrotechnics in West Warwick, Rhode Island? The group Great White was performing at the Station nightclub. 100 people killed, 200 injured. Staggering. Almost really like a third world event. Disaster, nightmare. Hey, let's go to Dave from Scranton. Dave, how are you?
Hey, Bob. Dave Berghoff. How you doing?
Great.
I missed a lot of what you had just gotten off of, but I see it was on New York. And I'm right now in the current process of going to file a petition to run for the 114th State House of Representatives against Bridget Kozarowski. And I want to let people know that there's a lot of people out there looking for signatures trying to get on the ballot. And, I often say, let's not confuse local politics with national politics, because our local issues are very important and our local legislators affect us more on an everyday basis. But one thing that's very important to understand, if we want Republican turnout, we need to put good people on the ballot.
Yep.
And that means on a local level. How are we going to turn out and win these midterms if we're not turning out and exciting people locally? And I don't see that happening. And I just want to relay a small experience I had today. Thank God at least our Republican headquarters is open, because it's been poorly staffed for years. It's been one of my bigger complaints. I have a lot of complaints, as you know. I've expressed them. I am not the guy that sits here and, just carries the water. Dan Naylor, for a third time in a row, is not around for the petition process, which I consider the most important process. We had an uncontested 114.
Well, we had great. Dave, I got to push back. They had a great event at our Caro and Janelle. The gubernatorial candidate came in. The congressional candidate was there. So
that was awesome, Bob.
I think the Republican Party's doing a lot of good stuff.
Let me finish. That was awesome, and I was there, Bob. But the problem is, Dan Naylor is on vacation, and we have trouble with the petition process. Let me finish my story where I just went down to Republican headquarters to print out my petitions. The guy running it didn't know how to do it. I left in frustration, pulled it up online, figured it out, went back to print it out. Our printer's out of ink. So please, Bob, he needs to be here for this. He's the president. Let's not excuse these guys. Sure, he may have done a good job.
You want him to put ink in the printer? You want him to put ink in the printer?
I want him to be a leader, Bob. Well, why would you push back on leadership?
Well, run for county chairman.
Bob, we're running people for the committees, and we're going to take over the party because it's necessary. We're going to build that infrastructure. But you pick on Paige Cognetti because the snow wasn't cleared. That's a leadership issue. We're picking on them right now because they can't come up with an after-action report. That's a leadership issue. That should be a standard operating procedure.
Calm down. Dave, calm down. No, calm down.
I'm just saying, Bob.
Take a breath and calm down. Go ahead.
You like to get excited, and I want to excite the people. And if it's this type of behavior that we're going to need, a man who will speak up, who will point out the flaws,
and that
and
you
call people out.
That's no problem. But Dave, don't start this nonsense with intra-party fighting. We have a few enough Republicans, especially in Lackawanna County, without complaining about people by name. I don't get it. I don't get the value. What is the value? Please tell me the value of complaining about the county chairman here on the air in public. Give me the value.
Because maybe it'll encourage people to vote for new committee people. Maybe they'll turn out this time because they understand we're losing elections because we have the wrong people in the place. Am I just supposed to support rhinos and people who don't show up? No, Bob. That's what it's all about. We have to call attention to why we're losing and the fact that we have a failed infrastructure, a fifth world infrastructure when it comes to our party, and that has to be corrected. So I want people excited. I want them turn out. You can brag all you want about how things are going, but we saw the last turnout.
I'm not bragging about anything. What the hell are you talking about? Things are going terrible in Lackawanna County.
Terrible. But you mentioned the Arcaro and Janelle's event, and that was awesome. And I'll tell you, Garrity, an amazing candidate, wonderful military service record. Rob Bresnahan has been doing a wonderful job, and like he said, they started attacking him on day, I think he said 11, and I have
before he got sworn
in. Right, and I see it on Tubi, and I appreciate all that. I'm not saying you're bragging about where we're at because obviously you understand Republicans need to regain control in this area because we're ruled by one party. But I won't let weak Republicans continue to hold the mantle and hold us back. And unless the Republican Party starts turning out 60, 70% at these primaries, they need to understand they're the problem and we're the solution.
Well, the Republican voters are the problem.
Yes, exactly. But
I
again,
don't know that you could blame individuals. And
Well, when you don't-
intra-party fighting is problem number 2, and maybe even problem number 1, which is why I discourage it.
well, if you don't turn out a candidate for certain races, Bob, that's a big problem that'll hurt turnout, number 1. Number 2, let me remind you, and
A
not to
bad
pick on you,
candidate is worse than no candidate.
well, I would have been the 114th had they had a little bit different meeting when I went to put my name in the last time around, Bob, but we won't get into that. But I will point out that you endorsed the non-endorsed Republican candidate the last time around for mayor. So I don't know if you're calling the pot calling the kettle black in a way.
I'm not a
You called
Republican.
out what you thought.
I'm not a Republican. I'm conservative. I endorsed the independent candidate Gene Barrett because I know him for a long time and because he came out and asked me first. And
but
that's
you
why
did
I
speak
endorsed
at the Republican event, and she was already our chosen candidate. She had won. I'm just saying, Bob, this is what you did the right thing. I'm not debating you. The point is, don't pick on me when I'm trying to point out that's important that when we have weak candidates, as you said, either don't run one or replace them.
Dave, there's a way to approach it. You fight I fought the Republican Party to win the nomination. Way back when. We went against the party, we went against the endorsement, but we didn't attack them, and we got unified after that. So
is it an attack
there's
to
a way
point out
to go.
That our president is not present for 3 signature petition processes? That's an attack. I'm just identifying it so people understand why this is such a difficult process.
It sounds like an attack to me. If it's not intended as such.
They see it. They can take it as they see it because personally, I would have impeached the guy, and I was unable to pull that.
Well, there you go. Let's have a big party fight in a party that can't even control 40% of the vote. Yeah, let's start a fight, Dave. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Is it a party fight? Hey, well, Bob, we'll let the voters decide. Maybe they'll turn out because they think I'm wrong and because they think you're wrong. Wouldn't that be wonderful? they turn out to smite both of us, right? You never know, Bob. But he's not a candidate. That's the point. I'm not picking on candidates.
Party fighting can't happen. It's a waste of time. It's counterproductive. We'll leave it there for now because I got to take a break. But
well, I love talking to you, Bob.
Call again. Always a pleasure, my man. Always a pleasure. Brother. I don't mind fighting with you. I like it. Look at Dave Berghoff. He's committed. He's aggressive. He'd be a great state rep. But I don't like this Republican Party there's not enough of us. We lost the majority of the county council in Luzerne County, which we should have owned for the next 30 years. And I mean conservatives because of intra-party fighting. We lost the controller's race. It's nuts. Focus on the positive of what you're going to do as a conservative instead of the negative of what someone else didn't do. It'll work out better, I promise. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll hear from our great sponsors. Come back with a Veterans Tribute, and then the weather and more. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour. This day and every day. Brought to you by our man, John Basiliga, and the great Basiliga Hospitality Group. Well, the weekend's here. You want to check out a movie, there's no place better to go than the Scranton Art House, downtown Scranton. It's fabulous. The food's good, the bar's great, the service is great. And to get it delivered right to your seat as you're watching. Of course, 3 amazing bar restaurants, tops in their class, without doubt. Queen City Tavern, downtown Alvin, Forest Street Tavern, the great neighborhood tradition on Forest Street in the Trips Park section of Scranton. The Old Brook Inn on 307 Springbrook Township. Fine dining, better than anything. Atera 519 downtown. Late nights at Atera. The bar stays open later. The menu stays open. Amazing. The Stegmeyer Mansion. Old world class, first world restaurant. And then you want to have some more fun? Sergei's, the nightclub. It'll be jammed. It'll be a blast all weekend. Chester Lebecki. He was 98. We lost him January 27th. He was from Lebanon. Born in Nanticoke. His loving wife, Julia, preceded him in death, as well as sisters and brothers. He's survived by his son, Chester Jr., and his wife, Nora. Grandchildren, great-grandchildren. And Chester was delighted to know that another grandson is coming this year. He passed at the end of January. He also survived by his girlfriend, Janet Smith. He was a life member of the American Legion Post, also a member of the Nanticoke Senior Citizen Center. In his younger years, his hobbies were gardening, picking berries, winemaking, hiking, fishing, all that with his beloved wife, Julia, and his grandchildren. Their gardening successes inspired 2 of his grandchildren to become farmers. How about that? Chet enlisted in the Navy during World War II at the age of 17. After his discharge, he went on to receive his high school GED, attend Morris County Community College, Newark College of Engineering, and the Apprenticeship School for Tool, Die, and Gauge at the Picatinny Arsenal. He primarily worked at Picatinny Arsenal in New Jersey as a tool and die maker. He was also a manufacturing engineer at the Chrysler Corp in Einan. His retirement jobs included work as a tool maker at Bud Corp and the mechanical designer at Princeton Lab. Chet was an active member of 2 Polish National Catholic churches in the Wyoming Valley until their respective closures. He lived his faith by praying daily and actively helping his neighbors, no matter what they needed. Honest and humble, he was always willing to lend a hand. Chester Lebecki. Henry Price. He died January 28th at the age of 79. He was from the Irishtown section of Plains, born in Wilkes-Barre, graduate of GAR Memorial High School, Wilkes-Barre and Westside Votech, Army combat veteran of the Vietnam War, serving as military policeman with the 9th Infantry Division at Bearcat, Mekong Delta in Vietnam. He was also activated during Desert Storm in 1991 after an honorable discharge from the active service in 1970. Hank served with the Army Reserve, the Engineers, Wilkes-Barre for over 25 years, retiring in 2006 with the rank of sergeant. In 2008, Hank received a Vietnam War Veterans Recognition Award and was part of the first interviews by Wilkes University students with Vietnam veterans. He was employed in the maintenance department at Altec Industries for 35 years, retiring in 2010. He and his wife, the former Cindy Lou Petronic, would have celebrated their 28th wedding anniversary this May. Preceded in death tragically by his son, Robert, In addition to his wife, Cindy, he survived by his children, 8 of them, 9 grandchildren, and many other family members. Henry Price. Our great veterans this hour brought to you by John Basiliga and the places to be this weekend, the Basiliga Hospitality Group. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Anthony Bordenaro. Brought to you by our friends at Montage Mountain. Another place to be, I promise you. Winter weather advisory in effect till noon today, so just for a few more minutes. It's 40 degrees outside as I speak. Today, cloudy and windy with a mix of rain and freezing rain in the morning, changing to all rain this afternoon, 41 that high. Tonight, mostly cloudy, 33. Saturday, mostly cloudy, 41. Sunday, cloudy with scattered snow showers. Could accumulate 1 to 4 inches before ending early Monday, high 35. So our guy John Perillo is already working on this tariff decision, because it's a very complicated decision. And there's multiple opinions written. So it's not the result is clear. He cannot impose broad tariffs through that specific legislation, 1977 legislation. So that's the deal. And we'll get it all unpacked. None of these things are urgent. Take your time. But I want to mention, I want to go to Bill on the phone, but I want to let you know that, you look at this Jeffrey Epstein thing. Look at his associations. Look at his entanglements, right to the royalty of Great Britain. There's evil in the world. And it's in really high places. I mentioned the people who are out to undermine this country. The Singhams, the Soroses, the Arabella Group. I mentioned this for a reason. And their perversions extend beyond hatred of America. Believe me, they do. How do you think the intertwining of business, which is what the prince was arrested for, and perverted, loathsome sex, how do you think they happened? Do they just happen to intersect? Like, let's not be cavalier about this. Let's not put our heads in the sand. Somebody texts in on a smaller note, amen to Dave Bergeroff. These are conversations that need to be had. They need to be had. Don't have any doubt. I love the guy. He's great. I'm a supporter. But they need to be had in a way that doesn't divide what little of a party organization you have. You're the minority party. You can't act like Democrats can fight all they want, and these Democrat voters will still vote. And people like Bill Gaughan will get in office and destroy things, and he's still got a left-wing lunatic follower of paid protesters. Just remember that. And dummies. Paid protesters and dummies. There's only 2 options for those clowns. Probably some of the same people that gave Biden the hometown hero banner. Certainly the same idiotic attitude. Let's go to Bill from Pittston. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, it touched a raw nerve, your discussion with that gentleman. He's probably a nice guy, and I know his emotions are pitched, but it doesn't do us any good to forget.
Well, you got to love the fire. You got to love the fire, but and you need the firebrands. You absolutely need them. But same thing I told the guys in Luzerne County. Stop this inter-party fighting. You're all conservatives. Yeah, maybe somebody's a rhino, but it's better to have a Republican in office than a Democrat. Fight during the primary, fight the right way, and unite after the primary, because the Democrat Party is useless. Except, I will tell you this, like, we got a great district attorney. We got a great county treasurer. We got normal Democrats in elective office in Lackawanna County. Tom Welby, the new commissioner. And then you got lunatics like the mayor of Scranton and Bill Gaughan. And we're all subjected to their idiocy. So, in any event, there's a way to fight and to argue. I'm not saying I was perfect at it, but we went after the party establishment for failing all the time. And we won and unified the party after the fact.
You got to remember the 11th commandment given to us by Ronald Reagan. And the other thing is, if you're going to fight, and I like fiery guys, I'm fiery myself. If you're going to fight behind closed doors and always come back united.
Yep.
Whatever, even if you hate somebody, you work together as a team and a unit, because you're just going to explode everything. And you should be attacking the enemy, the Democrats, not each other. You're wasting all that energy. And I'm sure this guy is pretty sharp, but you can't let your emotions run amok publicly. You've got to keep it contained, and then, give a united front. I just finished a book on Thomas Jefferson being Jefferson, and it describes how he undermined the Washington presidency by fighting publicly, by going to newspapers and doing all this stuff, and how detrimental it was, because he aired all these wounds publicly. And, that's the problem with the Republican Party, like Massey and these guys like that. If you're going to win, you got to win as a team. You can't have too many mavericks out there like John McCain. You need people.
Think of the Democrat Party and their success nationally, and these people are unqualified, insane, mentally imbalanced idiots. You could take the entire leadership of the Senate and the House in Washington, and you say, my God, they're mentally ill. The mayor of New York, mentally ill. Bernie Sanders, mentally ill. And yet they're winning because they stick. Thank you, my man.
Exactly.
I got to sneak one more call in here. Thank you, Bill. Hey, Chet Murley calling about a petition signing. Archibald on Saturday. Barrett's Pub. Great place to be, by the way. 12:30, 1:30,
yes,
what time, man?
12 to 2 tomorrow. Both Rosemary Brown, Senator Brown, and Congressman Bresnahan will be there. If you have questions, they'll be there to answer them. 12 to 2, Barrett's Pub, Main Street, Archibald, tomorrow.
Love it. These things are so important. And I know the one at Arcaro and Janelle's went really well. It builds momentum, and it builds unity, and it builds a team and a cause. It's very important.
And it gives you a chance to talk to them directly.
Amen. Amen. Well, thank you for that, Chet. Petition signing at Barrett's Pub, 12:30, Archibald. Where else could it be? 12 to 2.
12 to 2.
Love
Correct.
it. Thank you very much, Chet.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We've got the Bloomberg Money Minute coming up, so I wanted to just get that in. 12 to 2, Barrett's Pub, Archibald, petition signing event for Republican candidates. Senator Brown, Congressman Bresnahan will be there. Well, but Cordaro Jewelers watch time is 11:50 on the nose. Well, we're playing Freebird by Leonard Skinner in honor. And somebody, oh, darn, I'm forgetting. Somebody sent to Instagram, they said, you got to play Freebird for our Olympic team. And that's what I'm doing because it was great. They won it. What the heck? I got to let me find my, who the heck sent me it? Oh, John, my man John, another John. All right. So he sent it, and I said, all right, we'll play it. Murph jumped right up to and we're playing it to honor the gold medal winners, the American women's hockey team. And while we've got our final moments of the week, let's go to the policeman's prayer. This includes ICE, by the way, all federal authorities, but of course our local cops, the Thin Blue Line, sent to me by my man Nicky DeSando. Policeman's prayer. Lord, bless the ones who wear the badge, the ones who walk the beat, protect and keep them safe while they are on the street. As they wait and as they watch, doing good for all, guide their minds and give them strength for each and every call. Ready to put their lives on the line, give them courage each day. Let them know you're always there in each and every way. So bless the ones who wear the badge. Protect them from harm. Always keep them safe and in your loving arms. The policeman's prayer as they go out this weekend for us. Tomorrow Never Comes by Norma Cornett Merrick. This was in the great obituary for a beautiful woman by the name of Doreen Goriab. And this is just an admonishment. Reach out to somebody you haven't talked to for a while. Reach out. Don't let time pass. If I knew it would be the last time I'd see you walk out the door, I'd give you a hug and kiss and call you back for just one more. If I knew it would be the last time, I would spare an extra minute or two to stop and say I love you instead of assuming you know I do. So just in case tomorrow never comes and today is all I get, I'd like to say how much I love you, and I hope we will never forget. Tomorrow is not promised to anyone, young or old alike, and today may be the last chance you get to hold your loved one tight. So if you're waiting for tomorrow, why not do it today? For if tomorrow never comes, you'll surely regret the day that you didn't take that time for a smile, a call, a hug, or a kiss, and you were too busy to grant someone what turned out to be their final wish. So hold your loved ones close today and whisper in their ear that you love them very much, and you'll always hold them dear. Take time to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, or it's okay. And if tomorrow never comes, you'll have no regrets about today. Guys, can't tell you how great it's been to be with you this week. God willing, I will be with you Monday morning. Have a fun, safe, enjoyable weekend. I know I'm going to try like hell to do it too. Sue Henry Show next. Rob O'Donnell after that. But for now, as we salute the women's hockey team gold, we'll say adios and meeting adjourned.